This is Todd with Fight News Corps, here with legendary trainer Ronnie Shields, fighting out of Houston, Texas. He is here in Minnesota with his, well, what do we call it? His protege, I suppose that would be the word. He's here in Minnesota with his protege, David Morrell Jr., the current 168-pound WBA champion of the world. Now, David has been with you, I'd say, what, about a year now, would you say? Roughly about a year?
Yeah, roughly a year.
What would you say his changes have been that you have noticed since he's been training with you?
Well, I think he's maturing a lot now. You know, I think he's starting to, settle down a little bit and, not trying to rush things that like before, I think he's coming into his own right now. He got his, he's always had his own personality since I first met him. But I think now, he realizes that boxing, is really a business that, it's not just fun. You got to put a lot of work into it now.
When you reach these levels, in the amateurs, it's about getting the medals, it's about building a name and just sort of putting feathers in your hat. But once you turn pro, like you said, it becomes a business and it becomes a show business. And I would say I noticed he did mature. You said he calmed down. He was much more, it seemed like in his last fight, he was willing to stay right in the pocket and almost like he daring to get hit, but you couldn't hit him.
Right.
What would you attribute that to? How did he get that skill set? That's something that I noticed.
Well, I think he was born with the skill set, to tell you the truth. But I think when you're working in a gym, certain things you have to do when you want to fight close and, when you want to fight on the outside. But, he's learning really when you get inside things that he really has to do. And I think in the last fight, he really wanted to get this kid out early, and so he really just jumped on top of him. He wanted to see what the kid had, and I guess he just felt that, he was stronger, and he was faster, and he would just overwhelm that kid. But for this fight, it's going to be a little bit different because this guy is the overwhelmer. This guy, he's strong and he can really fight. So, so we have to be careful in this one. We have to do some of the same things we've been doing, but man, we've added so much to David's arsenal that, we think is going to really work with this guy.